everyone, it's Orkin. Welcome to my channel. Today we are gonna solve LeetCode 2178 maximum split of positive even integer problem. So the problem statement is that we have as an input a final sum, and we need to split that into the maximum number of unique and even integers, and those integers should be positive. So, and we have three examples. The first example, if for example we have 12, we can split to 2, 4, and 6. So we have three positive integers here. The next one is 7. 7 cannot be split to even integers, so that's why we return as a result empty array. And the final one, 28. So 28 we can split to 4 even integers, 6, 8, 2, and 12. Okay, so let's see how we are gonna solve this problem. Okay, we are going to use two examples. First example is 7. So let's take 7, and the first thing that we need to do, we need to check that can we split that to even integers. In this case, we cannot. So if we divide that by 2, we have the leftover 1. So in this case, what we do, we are right away returning the empty result. Okay, so we are taking modulo from 7 and we have 1 as a leftover. Then in that case we are returning the empty result. So another case is when, let's say 28 is even, so we can divide that to maximum number of even unique integers. So for that, which approach are we going to use in this case? We are going to use the greedy algorithm. So basically we are going to start with the 2. So that is our first even integer. Then we are going to go with 4, then we are going to go with 6, and so on. As we go, we are subtracting from our 28. So in case of 2, it becomes 26. So then in case of 4, it becomes 22. And then in case of the 6, it becomes 16. Okay, so our next even element in the series is 8. So we are subtracting from 16, 8 is, so we have here 8. What we need to do next? The next element comes in series is 10, but we cannot use it because we already have, we have only 8 left. So for that reason, we are not using the next element, but we need to, we are adding the whatever is left over to our last element. So it's gonna be 8 plus 8 equals to 16. So our final result will look like 2, 4, 6, and 16. So that's how we are going to solve this problem using greedy algorithm. So let's put this algorithm to code. Okay, first thing that we need to do is we need to create a list of longs, and let's call it result. New array list. Okay, so first thing that after creating our empty list, so we need to check that if our final sum even. So if it's even, so how we can check that? We are taking the modulo of 2. If it is not equal to 0, then in that case we are just returning the empty result. So return result. If it's not, then while So while our temp, so let's actually first create our temp, so basically this is, we are starting with 2, we are creating a temp long, and we are going to keep increase that. So 2, it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. So while our temp is less than or equal to our final sum, what we are going to do, first thing is that we are adding to our result. So we are adding to our result our temp, and then we are subtracting from our final sum our temp, and then we are incrementing temp by 2. So we are incrementing that by 2. Okay, so that's it. Once we exit this loop, what we need to do, we need to add whatever is left over from our last subtraction. So for example, in case of the 28, we are going to take 2, we are going to take 4, we are going to take 6, we are going to take 8, and the next element is should be 10, but we have only 8 left. So what we need to do, we need to add that 8 to our last element, and that way we can also preserve the uniqueness of our integers that we are returning. So in that case, we are for 28 it will be 2, 4, 6, 8. So since we cannot take the next one, 10, we are just adding whatever left over to our last element in the array. To do that, let's create one more let's call it number, last number, let's say, or last value. Let's call last element. And for that, we need to, from the result, we need to get last element. So how we can do that? We take the size and -1, which give us the last element, 8, and we are adding that whatever is left over from the final sum, which is in our example above is 8. So we are adding final sum, and what we need to do, we need to replace this 8 with 16, right? We need to replace our last element 8 with 16. So for that, we need to, for result, we need to set for the last element, which is result size -1, we are replacing that with the last element. Okay, so, and at the end we are returning the result. That's it. Let me see. Let's check it. Okay, great. It works as expected. So let's go over our algorithm one more time. First thing that we do is we are creating the empty array list. If our final sum is not even, we are returning the empty result right away, because we cannot split that to maximum even unique integers. If it's even, then in that case we are using the greedy algorithm. We are starting with 2. So first we are adding 2, then we are adding 4, then we are adding 6, and so on. And at the end, to also consider our leftover, we are, once we exit while loop, we are adding our leftover to our last element and replacing that with our last element in the array. And we are returning the result. That's it. I hope you like my content. If you like it, please hit like button and subscribe my channel. That's it for today. See you next time. Bye.